Do not be afraid. Let's go.
Hey guys, this is Mark for Stack.B Gaming again, and today I'm just going to run through a couple of rounds from a game we played on the Cybergamer Open Ladder. This game was played a couple of weeks ago, so it's a little bit old, but we're still happy overall with how we played. But there's still a few rounds that I think is worth going over again and finding out exactly what we did wrong, what poor decisions we made, and trying to figure out why those decisions were not as good and try to find better answers than the ones we came up with on the spot. So starting off, we're just going to go through this round all at once first, then I'll go back and break everything down because there's actually quite a lot in this one round. Okay, so I smoke off apps, I then run up short, I hear them in apps, I hear at least one player, so I molly it off as well to prevent them pushing through. Spam through, try to get a couple kills. Drop boy is rotated from window, he's now helping us on B. I flash up trying to prevent the push. Zad's jumping up here, he gets naded. Not much damage, he sees one, takes a few shots. So we know they're definitely still up there. Another flash, while all this was happening, I'll slow it down for a second. We had Evil, the main site carrier in A, getting picked off by their lurker. We have Bish coming and searching for him, he doesn't see him, he gets smashed as well. So their lurker calls to their team that they've just torn open A site, so they decided to rotate through underpass and onto A. That was a nice shot by Drop Boy just before. I get smashed from short as I'm in window, and really it's just up to Zed and John. I try to salvage something from this round. Good trade from Zed, and really with the bomb timer ticked down so low, even though the two of them have kits, it's quite this round's basically a write-off. So the decision here should have been to save. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, and they get smoked by that guy right there. Okay, so I'm going to go back and go through all the different things that I've come up with that we should have done better in that round. Okay, so we are at the very start of the round, and what we're going to focus on now is what information we gained from the terrorists and what our response should have been. So right now, we're seeing that Drop is in window, and he sees nobody in mid, okay? So no terrorists in mid. Alright, so that leaves two options. It could either be, well, let's put it this way. There are two really strong threats now presenting themselves to us. So it could either be a really fast A site take, or it could be a really strong B site hit. Okay, so those are the two things that you really need to be aware of if you don't see anybody in mid. Alright? So, Drop Boy made that call to us, and I heard some footsteps, at least two pairs of footsteps in apps. Okay? So since we just established that the two strongest threats are a strong A site push and a strong B site push, and I just hear a lot of footsteps in B apps, it's looking likely that the terrorists are doing a really strong B side hit. Okay? So in response to that, we have Drop rotating as soon as I call it. He's going to help us from shop hold this push. Alright? Also, just to add on a little bit more information, as Bish rotated to where he was, or where he is at the moment, he saw and heard a player at the bottom of A ramp. So we know that they have a lurker at A ramp if they do decide to do a full B side hit. Alright? Okay. So, right now, let's focus on what our rotation should have been, given that there's a strong terrorist presence in apps and we suspect that they're trying to do a B side take. Alright, so the first thing that is Drop comes into shop to help us. Okay, so that's the first thing. Really good. Alright, the second thing should be Bish here should be coming back and rotating to take Drop spot in window, or he's coming to the bottom of connector to help gain information in mid, basically. He wants to make sure they're not coming out of underpass, rotating out of apps to underpass, and he wants to make sure that they're not trying to retake control of mid by coming from up here. Okay, so given that those are the two locations that Bish should be, Evil also needs to focus on where he should be. Okay, so Evil's our A-site carry on Mirage, and since he's support player Bish, he usually plays on stairs and connector. Since Bish is now preoccupied holding mid, Evil now has to fall back to a more secure spot so he's not picked off without being traded again, since Bish isn't there to help him. So Evil should fall back to CT or come back to jungle or stairs, or another option could possibly be to clear Palace and then play a site from up here at Palace. Okay? So that is really the ideal rotation, given that we know there's a lot of players in B apps, and there's also one player at A ramp. Okay? So that's really the ideal situation, and again, we'll play the rest of the round out and see what should have happened if we were in those spots. Okay? So the first thing is Evil here. We saw last round he got picked off. Okay, so if our rotations had been on point, if they had been perfect, Evil wouldn't have been killed here. Instead, he would have been again down here at CT spawn. Okay, Bish would have been in window or connector. At the moment, or as it is, with our not so good rotations, he was torn basically. Because he now has two roles. Well, he's thinking he has two roles because he also has to support our A-site carry on A. He has to support Evil, so if he does get killed, Bish can easily get the trade. But he also has to take control of mid since Drop left to help us at B. Alright, so because Bish is torn, he's trying to do two things at once, and he ends up not being able to do either of them very well. So he's trying to find this player here, doesn't suspect he's right next to him, and then he gets killed. Okay, so that leaves the terrorists able to completely go in through unders and up connector and take A site basically. So if I'm just going to go back to the start of the round and start drawing on the map again. Okay. So again, if we had a person, if Drop was here, I was here, Zed, our A-site carry was here, and also say Bish was in window and Evil, our A-site carry was at CT spawn. What would have happened in that round? Okay, so we saw that their lurker came out onto A site. Evil here may have been able to see him, he may not have been able to. Okay, it's a bit hard to determine 100% if he would have seen him if he was playing from here. We'll assume that he did, so he may have been able to kill him, he may not have been, but anyway, the more important thing is mid control. Okay, so when the terrorists decide to come down and rotate through underpass, first of all, I would also be in a very good position to support Bish in window, because I could easily come through onto short and help shoot down on the players from short. There's at bottom of mid. While this is happening, Drop can also rotate either to window to help Bish, or to rotate through jungle to help secure control of A site if Evil didn't get this pick here, or to secure connector control as the terrorists come through. Okay, so we'll be hitting them from this spot, and this spot. So like a three-pronged attack as they're trying to rotate. Okay, and of course Zed would probably just hold hold on to B, because there's always the option that that as the terrorists go through here, they're just going to send the bomb here and hope that we over-rotated. Alright. So that pretty much does it for this round. Again, when you're playing your own games and you're playing with a team, it really pays off to work out how you're going to rotate in certain situations. And if we had established our own rotations properly before this game, we wouldn't have lost this round. And instead of it being a 16-9 scoreline, it could have actually been a lot better than that, maybe a 16-6 scoreline. So anyway, we're going to go into the next round, and just a really quick thing I want to show. Okay, so here we are at the start of round 10, and we decided that to vary it up a little bit, since we had been losing quite a bit, that I was going to jump down into underpass, to do an underpass push to try and get some kills. Okay, so this underpass push, you've probably seen it before. Professionals do it quite a bit, again, to add some variation. So the reason I point this out is because our execution of it isn't that good. Okay, so right here, Drop gets killed with the AWP by this player at the top of mid. Okay, so we have to think, is it really necessary to have a two-person push down to underpass? I'd say probably not. I think Drop would have been better placed into in window, watching for the push coming out at the top of mid. In addition to that, I think an underpass push is also made a lot stronger if Zad here, our B-side carry, also pushes through apps, because we can then meet together. If there is nobody in B apps, or if, say, we get a pick each and we take control of B apps, then we can then really narrow down where the tiers can be playing, and it's really a lot of information gathering if we're able to do that. Okay, so that's a really good strength of successfully taking B apps. As it turns out, we're not able to gather information because we didn't do the push through B apps, so they didn't push through B apps with us, and since there's a strong presence in mid, I'm really torn as to where I should be going. Should I be going under apps? Or should I be going up con? Or should I be trying to get the trade from Drop's kill? So I end up retreating with 34 health. I see they're in mid, and really that's all I wanted to show. We do end up winning the round. I'll just let it play out in the background, but yeah, that's just a really quick tip. When you're doing the underpass push, try to have a person coming through B apps as well. Only have one person doing it, especially if the other player has an AWP. Have them instead in connector or in window, helping you by suppressing the people at the top of mid. So that's really important. Okay, so that pretty much does it with this video. I am going to do another one, a follow-up, because there are a few more rounds that I also want to analyze from this game. I think I have about 4 more rounds that I want to talk about, one of which is running in the background, but I'm going to leave that for the next video, and we'll be back with it real soon. So see you guys later.